Okay, let's just jump right in. The average person, you and me, we get about 4,000 weeks on this planet. That's it. And the system tells us we have to spend a massive chunk of that time, around 90,000 hours, just working to survive. But what if that whole story is a lie? What if the system isn't about living at all, but is actually a parasite, one that's designed to drain our most precious resource, our life, for nothing more than paper tokens? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain and deconstruct that very system.
And this just hits home, doesn't it? It feels personal, because it is personal. We're all told that if we just work hard, keep running faster on that treadmill, we'll eventually get somewhere, we'll earn our freedom. But for so many people, the treadmill just speeds up, and all that effort, it's just powering a machine that benefits from keeping us exhausted.
I mean, just let that number sink in. 90,000 hours. That's what you're expected to trade for a paycheck over your lifetime. It's about a third of your entire adult life. It is a staggering investment of the only thing you can never, ever get back, your time.
So, what exactly is this system? Let's give it a name: the survival parasite. See, our brains are hardwired from our evolutionary past to hoard resources. Back then, more literally meant you'd survive. But the modern economy has hijacked that instinct. It keeps you in a constant state of feeling like you don't have enough, always whispering that you're falling behind. And this creates what you could call a neural debt, where your brain is constantly on high alert, not for lions in the savannah, but for unpaid bills and looming deadlines.
So what is the real, tangible human cost of this parasitic system? It's not just about the time we lose, it's about what we're forced to do with that time. And that brings us to this concept called shadow myelin.
You know, we normally think of practice and repetition as a good thing, right? It's how you master an instrument or a sport. But for millions of people around the world, repetition is something much, much darker. It's being forced to do dangerous, soul-crushing tasks over and over again. They're not building excellence. They're hardwiring the grim skill of just surviving one more day under the worst possible conditions.
And please, don't think for a second that this is some abstract problem happening in a land far, far away. It is directly connected to our lives. It's in the hardware of the phone you might be holding in your hand right now.
And this is where the reality of that cost becomes crystal clear. Cobalt, which is essential for the batteries in our electronics, it's often mined by children, some as young as 6, for just a couple of dollars a day. The chocolate we eat? There's a good chance it's tainted by the 1.5 million children working in hazardous conditions on cocoa farms. This isn't a glitch in the system. With over 25 million people trapped in modern-day slavery, it's a fundamental feature that produces the comforts we often take for granted.
So you have to wonder, how does a system like this keep going? Well, it's brilliant in a sinister way. It doesn't just hide the exploitation. It distracts us with these huge, glittering events. These are basically dopamine smokescreens, designed to grab our attention and make us look away from what's happening behind the scenes. Just think about the 2022 World Cup. On screen, we saw this amazing spectacle of athletic achievement and global unity, the perfect stadiums, the cheering crowds. What we didn't see was the price tag. An estimated 6,500 migrant workers died building the infrastructure for that event. It's the ultimate resolution paradox. We get so hyper-focused on the final score, on the win, that we become completely blind to the devastating process it took to get there.
And this wasn't a one-time thing, not at all. To prepare for the 2016 Olympics in Rio, 77,000 people, 77,000 were forcibly removed from their homes to make way for the games. Their lives were turned upside down for a spectacle that left behind little more than empty buildings.
The human cost is almost too much to bear, but the parasite has another host it's feeding on: the planet. This relentless, unending chase for profit is literally stripping the Earth of its resources. We're borrowing biological credit from our children's future to pay for digital profits today.
Just look at this. The Amazon rainforest, literally the lungs of our planet. 17% of it has been wiped out in just the last 50 years, mostly to clear land for things like cattle ranching. Scientists are screaming from the rooftops that we're getting dangerously close to a tipping point where the whole ecosystem could collapse. And it's not just the forests. Our oceans are choking. Every single minute, the equivalent of one full garbage truck of plastic gets dumped into our seas. Think about that. At the rate we're going, we're on track to have more plastic in the ocean than fish by 2050. It's horrifying. Okay, so with all of this destruction, human and environmental, you might ask, why don't people just opt out? Well, because the system is designed with a powerful firewall to prevent you from escaping, and that firewall is debt.
See, debt is the ultimate control mechanism. Student loans, for instance, make sure that graduates start their careers not as bold creators, but as obedient servants to a bank. And for those in the most desperate situations, there are payday loans, with interest rates that can hit 400%. These aren't a lifeline, they're a targeted attack on your brain's ability to think long-term. They force you into a state of pure survival, making it impossible to plan or build a better future.
And this financial trap does devastating things to our mental health. This isn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet. It's about the crushing weight of stress, the feeling of having no control, and the constant fear of falling behind. It's a quiet, invisible crisis of despair. All right, I know this all sounds incredibly grim, but the system has a weakness. It thrives in darkness and apathy. The moment we start paying attention, the moment we reframe our own role in all of this, everything starts to change. It all begins with one powerful realization.
This is it. This is the key. Your spending is not passive. Every single time you buy something, you are casting a vote. You're endorsing a company, its practices, its ethics, its entire supply chain. You are actively voting for the kind of world you want to live in.
So what's the plan? It's actually pretty straightforward. First, the fortress strategy. Start treating your time like the sacred, non-renewable resource it is. Stop trading it away so cheaply. Second, the calibration protocol. Shift your own identity. Stop thinking of yourself as just a consumer and start seeing yourself as an ethical architect, someone who actively builds a better world. And third, use your power, your voice and your wallet to demand transparency. When we all refuse to look away, these companies will have no choice but to change.
It really just boils down to this simple, powerful idea. For too long, we've let it tool become our master. It is time to take back control, to stop powering the machine and start actually living.
And that really leaves us with the only question that matters. We're so obsessed with how much money we can accumulate, but we forget to ask why. Maybe it's time to start measuring our wealth not by the balance on our bank account, but by the richness of the life we actually get to experience.